Offensive Pokemon are ruined by their move pool. You know, Game Freak is getting slightly better at this as time goes on. You know, Generation 2, we had things like Ledian, which is a terrible Pokemon and is not an anagram of my name whatsoever, having no bug-type moves. And maybe like Comet Punch, which would do -2 damage from 35 base attack. It just didn't make any sense. Now, things are getting a little bit better, but there are still a lot of Pokemon that are ruined by their move pool. But which ones are they?
We made a video before about offensive Pokemon ruined by their move pool.
I love Porygon-Z
for more.
Sorry, Porygon-Z. I mean, I love Porygon-Z. I love Porygon-Z so much, and I wish I could use it more, but I think the funniest thing to do with it is to spam Adaptability Hyper Beam. I mean, it's just a fun time. No one gets to use Hyper Beam. I just bit my tongue. Oh my god, ow!
This time we're mixing it up a little, in that the Pokemon we've chosen are not completely abject, more or less, in terms of what they've been given to work with in tandem with their impressive offensive stats. However,
Sorry, I was in so much pain, I forgot to say. This is a video by False Swipe Gaming, who you should be subscribed to already. If they're not by 500,000 subscribers by the time this video is uploaded, then you have a chance to be in the first 500k. And they're going to the moon, baby. Let me tell you that. They're going to the moon.
They are lacking noticeably. It's important to note that complete destitution is not required for conditions to justify improvement. With that life lesson in mind, let's dive right into these 5 more offensive Pokemon that sure could use a boost to their move pool.
I love talking about Porygon-Z so much.
But
I can't wait for the
before we
Porygon-Z
start,
section.
this video is sponsored by Boot.dev. Boot.dev is
Let's
the smartest way to
go!
learn how to code Python and Go because it makes sure you're never bored while learning it. Look,
I love
coding
learning.
is very useful to learn. In fact, programmers have amazing earning potential. According to Stack Overflow, the median salary for backend developers in the US in 2023 was over 100K.
Okay, it stopped going up, but still, that's a lot of money.
But learning the program is super challenging and boring. There's a bunch of YouTube tutorials online if you want to pick it up, but you might end up in tutorial hell, where you watch a bunch of tutorials that just tell you about the programming language, but aren't hands-on.
I don't want to hear about that.
So you end up not
I want Boot.dev.
being able to make your first project anyway. Luckily for you, Boot.dev has online courses that are self-paced
I can level
and feel
up?
like a
Oh my
captivating
goodness.
RPG game instead of just a
What?
lecture. The platform is designed to get you to write a ton of code because that is the best way to learn. Getting your hands on the keyboard and making your own projects. And let me just say, I'm super stoked to be sponsored by them because I am currently on my own journey of learning code, so I know
That's
what
awesome.
tutorial hell is like. Boot.dev.
Learning any language is tough. I'm learning Japanese right now, and Nihongo wa muzukashi desu. It's difficult. It's difficult. It's hard. It's hard to learn any language. And I would say that any programming language is pretty much the same as any actual language. It's got its own rules that you need to learn, and there's only practice, and learning and determination that's going to get you through. You can't. There's no easy way to do it, but there are easier ways to do it. Like I assume, for example, Boot.dev.
It's one of the best courses I have taken. So what are you waiting for? Click the link in the description box and use my code FalseSwipeGaming to get 25% off your first month or even your entire first year if you choose the annual plan. And thank you so much to Boot.dev for sponsoring this video.
You can get 25% off the first year using code FalseSwipeGaming? That's incredible. I love that. Fantastic.
We're not counting the Mega for this, of course.
Oh, okay, well, we're not counting the Mega Evolution, which makes sense because the Mega Evolution is very good. Aerolite just makes this thing an absolute beast, a monster.
That was a triumph of design and reinvention. Aerolite transforming Pinsir into one of the scariest attackers in the game, preying on a dearth of reliable flying resistance.
Mega Pinsir made Pinsir so fun to use and so good. All the Pinsir enjoyers were like, woo, yeah! Let me tell you, Subnoodle's a big Pinsir enjoyer. Like, specifically this one. This Subnoodle loves Pinsir. Was so excited when the Mega Pinsir came out. I don't think it was born back then, actually. So excited, loves using it. Very sad now that Mega Pinsir's gone. Pinsir's back to being mediocre at best. Not very good. It needs like an evolution or something. Maybe when the Mega Evolutions come back in Legends Zaza, maybe it'll be good again. I hope so.
And that many common Pokemon that resisted its stabs were smacked into oblivion by close combat. Base Pinsir, though, has never had anywhere near that kind of appeal, even in the lower
Base Pinsir keeps reminding me of when people say things like Base Gojo and Base Goku. It's like, oh yeah, Base Gojo could wipe this verse so easily. Base Goku could kill any Pokemon.
Despite an excellent base attack stat pushed further by Swords Dance, as well as 3 excellent abilities perfectly tuned to its talents, the Intimidate blocking Hypercutter, the Unaware and Levitate ignoring Mold Breaker, and the potential Snowball Machine Moxie, Pinsir can still feel a bit generic.
It's also, its stats aren't the best in the world, I believe. I think it's like base 500 stats, which is not like, bad by any means. It has like very good defense, it has mediocre special defense. It's just, I think it's slow. I think the main problem with Pinsir is that it's slow, it has pretty decent attack, and it can't take advantage of that really good
Ability
attack.
to stand out apart from any other strong boosting physical attacker. Sure, it could run Stealth Rock, which is
It can run Stealth Rocks? Okay, I'm learning something new
rather
today.
unique, but given its 9 non-existent defensive profile and lack of a great speed or taunt to wield it so offensively, it's not going to be used for such a purpose too reliably or commonly. Yeah,
And it's so messed up that they did this, because they had Scyther and Pinsir as like the cool bug types from Generation 1. Those were the sick ones. Those were the ones that people wanted. And then when it came to Generation 2, they give Scizor. They make Scizor. Brilliant. Fantastic. Scizzor's great. And then they make Mega Pinsir. And that's great. And they make Mega Scizor. And it's like, well, you know, Pinsir needs something a little bit more perhaps. And then we get Cleavor. Nothing for Pinsir. And then Mega Evolutions get taken away. It's just, they just spit on Pinsir every day. They love Scyther so much, and I love Scyther too. I mean, Scyther is so
Mold
cool.
Breaker is nice so it can pop up rocks against Magic Bounce, but it's just not enough given all its other problems. So you want Pinsir to be a big physical slugger, but it doesn't really stand out as one at all, despite packing the tools you'd want and expect from such a Pokemon. This stems from 2 problems. 1, its stab is decidedly unimpressive. X-Scissor isn't weak, but given the fact that bug type's coverage is not exactly the most vast thing in
Wait, it learns Mega Horn though, right? I mean, it literally has it has 2 Mega Horns. I mean, that's kind of like the whole point. Why doesn't Pinsir get a signature move that involves like clamping and crushing a Pokemon in betwixt thine massive horns? I think that would be sick. That'd be really cool. Like a signature move, like a really powerful one, like at least base 100 power that does damage over turn as well.
the world, you want it to hit neutral targets much, much harder. The equally powerful Shadow Ball gains its strength from its immense spam ability, both in lack of resist and in the ease of its user getting on the field. Neither of these are true for X-Scissor and the weakness-laden Pinsir. 2, Pinsir is not exactly slow, but it's certainly not that fast. All in all, it's basically Diet Heracross. A Pokemon for all its talents is all
Heracross is really just the better version of Pinsir, which makes me sad because I feel like Pinsir needs its own line. It needs its own way to go. It needs something because it's a really cool design. Everyone loves it from Generation 1, and it just does nothing ever.
already flawed.
Poor guy.
Yet will at least give you greater bang for your buck offensively between its far stronger Bug Stab, Mega Horn, and the
Wait, so Pinsir doesn't get Mega Horn? Okay, that's ridiculous. Pinsir not getting Mega Horn is actually
close
insane.
combat it wields getting the same type boost as well. Pinsir is much more middling in comparison. You would want it to hit much harder than it does considering its middling adjacent speed. It's
And honestly, Pinsir doesn't even need to be like a fighting type or anything. It could be like Bug Ground, for example, and get that Ground buff, which is huge. Ground's fantastic
not
typing.
surprising then that Pinsir has been untiered in its last 2 generations of existence, 7
So
and
sad.
8. In case you thought Gen 9's insane power creep had anything to do with it. Nope. Pinsir hasn't been released in Gen 9, but it would absolutely be untiered a 3rd time unless it got a serious makeover. So what's
Yeah.
missing from its move pool? The obvious answer is Mega Horn, and before anyone wonders,
I can't believe this thing doesn't get. Is that Clodsire using Mega Horn? What is happening? What is Submiddle? What is going on here? I'm so confused. Why did they give it to Clodsire? I don't even understand. It doesn't even have a horn. It has
should
to have a
Pinsir
horn.
be able to learn that design-wise, we'll remind you that nobody has any such qualms about Rapidash learning it. Anyway, yes, Mega Horn gives Pinsir's lone stab
Of course, it has 2 massive horns. I mean, I know they're like clampy horns, but they're pretty mega. If I was to look at those horns, I'd say that they're mega.
far great immediacy, opening up opportunities to blast through neutral targets, as well as really letting it rock the house down after a Swords Dance against bulkier teams. If you really are against Mega Horn, let's get French Revolutionary and repurpose Guillotine from its one-hit KO move status into
Okay.
simply a powerful Bug Stab. Yes, we know it's
That's what I'm saying. That's why I'm saying a signature move just for
originally
Pinsir.
a normal move,
We're on the same wavelength.
but it fits because we are wresting it from its norms. Anyway, make it even slightly stronger than Mega Horn. It's not going to break anything. 125 base power would be fine. However, this does nothing to solve the issue of Pinsir's quotidian speed. So we're also suggesting it learn another great bug move that would mean it's more than just Diet Heracross.
Victory Dance? No,
First
Dance?
impression.
First impression.
This lends Pinsir genuine use against offense.
Stupid idiots. Stupid courses. First impression. Why would it not be first impression?
As it stands now, it's more or less a balance or defense-breaking pick that becomes the first relegation to Death Father as soon as Team Preview reveals a remotely fast-paced opposing team. Instead, it can now revenge kill wonderfully. It would hit just as hard as Golisopod. It might even give its game more dimension, as with this new utility, you'd be more inclined to find a place for it to Stealth Rock. In short, better Bug Stab for Pinsir, one for wall breaking and one for priority.
That's huge. Huge. Yeah, really good idea. I still think making it a ground type would make sense. Porygon-Z makes me so... I love Porygon-Z. It's the most fun Pokemon.
For all the talk
Just look at him when he's like flapping around.
Porygon-Z's shocking
Whee!
power by the now quick
He's got little glitches in his house.
standards of the day.
House, head.
Generation 4 anyway, it's never made much of an impact because it's remarkably inconsistent. Yeah, its non-bulk and resistance lacking normal typing hold it back from such an opportunity, but it's not like something like Gen 6 OU Crawdon is at checking opposing threats either. If your wall breaker brings the goods once it's in, you will make the effort to have it hit the field, for it will reward you with a KO or close when it does, and having it hit the field becomes easier by the generation.
I always feel like Porygon should be slightly faster. It zips around pretty rapidly in the game. I just feel like maybe it needs a little bit more speed to go along with that. I mean, adaptability is fantastic to have with it. Hyper Beam is just great. Maybe it has... we could just put signature moves on every Pokemon. Why not? Why not have... It's slightly weaker than Hyper Beam. Doesn't require recharge. Something like that.
With all the switch moves flying.
Oh, no, that'd be way too strong, actually. No, with Choice Scarf? Oh, that'd be way too strong. Okay, never mind. Don't do that. Let it keep using Hyper Beam. It'd be really fun.
Around. Crawdon, a slow, frail Pokemon, is worth such an effort because when it hits the field, very little comes in at all safely. Porygon-Z is not worth this effort because it completely lacks stab. Oh, sure, you could...
Well, I mean, it gets like... I mean, Tri-Attack is solid, and it has Hyper
run
Beam.
Z conversion gimmicks to turn it into an electric type with an Omni Boost that gives +1 to every stat, as was tried early in Gen 7, but this is incredibly restrictive. The move slot, the turn it takes, the total commitment to going for a sweep when...
Oh my god, but listen, you just one-shot a Tapu Koko. I know it's +1, I know it's now stab, and I know it's an electric drain, but I mean, we're just one-shotting legendary electric types with
because you can only Z once. Yes, stab, Thunderbolt, and Porygon-Z with +1 across the board is threatening, but these restrictions mean it comes with an enormous asterisk. It is not the same thing as consistent, reliable stab, which is why Porygon-Z has been so unreliable for so many generations. After the initial allure of it being a special attacker capable of one-hit KOing Blissey wore off.
What? Oh, come on. That's amazing. That's incredible. I mean, you'd probably have to be +6, though, right? You +6 with Hyper Beam?
What particularly makes this thing is the fact that one of Porygon-Z's abilities, Adaptability, which is the absolute dream of just about anything offensively minded, has the effect of strengthening its stab, and incidentally, is the same ability that makes Crawdon hit so hard.
Oh my god, Crawdon is ridiculous here.
Adaptability is great when you Z conversion into an electric type with T-Bolt, but it's not nearly as impressive otherwise. When you are stuck with normal stab, which hits nothing super effectively and is resisted by a great deal of bulky Pokemon, this...
Yeah, that is true. It does. It has a bit of a tough time against Ghost and Rock and Steel. That is true. But, I mean, Tri-Attack can give some pretty good stats elements.
In and of itself isn't a deal breaker, but what certainly is the fact that Porygon-Z's most reliable normal stab is Tri-Attack, also clocking in at 80 base power. It almost feels polite to use it, like you want to make sure you're not damaging your opponent too hard. What else are you going to do with Porygon-Z? Unstab Bolt Beam maybe with some hidden powers that got yanked in Gen 8 anyway? Those aren't at all impressive despite the massive base special attack, even with Nasty Plot and Life Orb. It does get scarier when you factor in Porygon-Z's other ability, Download, but even that special attack boost you can potentially pick up is contingent on the Pokemon you switch in against. Not exactly reliable. Well,
yeah, not very consistent.
Porygon-Z really needs is to stop messing around with non-stab, potentially boosted further by Download and Nasty Plot. And
well, what could you really give Porygon-Z? I mean, you could give it Hyper Voice. I believe that was in the thumbnail. I think Tri-Attack is solid. I mean, it's not very strong is the thing. Honestly, Spam and Hyper Beam just seems like the way to go
just
here,
focus
guys.
on immediately unleashing the strongest stab imaginable to do justice to its destructive potential. No, we're not talking about Hyper Beam. We're talking Boom Burst.
Oh, Boom Burst! Dude, I totally forgot about Boom Burst. Oh my god, that makes sense. That makes so much sense. You know, there's some computer viruses that cause your speakers to blurt out really loud noises. So, hey, I'm just saying, I feel like that makes sense with Porygon-Z, doesn't it?
Specs Porygon-Z with Boom Burst is so powerful, only superlatives describe it. Even paragons of special bulk like Chansey, Blissey, and Tyranitar fear its strength. And given its complete lack of drawback, not even accuracy, Porygon-Z can...
Yeah, Boom Burst is I thought Boom Burst was like 120 power. It's 140 power.
Happily spam its 140 base power to high heaven. Should it Terra Normal, it's even more
Terra Normal, oh, that's right. It can get even stronger. Honestly, you slap a Choice Scarf on this and you just outpace everything.
Is this excessive? Perhaps, but remember the Rampardos theorem. Just because Porygon-Z would smash everything in its path that isn't a ghost type wouldn't help its other issues. The fact that it has no defensive value whatsoever is the easiest thing in the world to revenge kill.
Honestly, just devolve it back into a Porygon-Z when you get hit. Porygon-2 when you get hit. and then evolve it back into a Porygon-Z when you attack. I mean, that's honestly the smartest way
Scarf
to do it.
sets would be good against offense, but still plagued by its defensive problems, and far easier to stifle with bulk. Plus, ghosts are not exactly rare, so many teams would naturally have a boom burst deterrent. The move would let Porygon-Z be its best self without going completely overboard.
Okay, also run Foresight on Porygon too. I don't think it learns Porygon. I don't think it learns Foresight. What am I saying? Am I stupid? Am I dumb? Well, I can't be that dumb. Not if I'm using code Patterrz at Gamer Subs, I can't be. Oh my goodness, is that a mecha? I think it is. You can get merchandise. You can get cups to put any liquid in. Any liquid in. You can get free samples if you want to try the different flavors for free. You just put it in, shake it up with some water, and get some delicious flavors. Don't ask why there was double Porygon on the screen. Don't ask why that was there. Use code Patterrz at Gamer Subs. I promise, it's definitely worth it. Ampharos! Ampharos has like what? Focus Blast. Has all the electric moves in the freaking world. It has Dragon Pulse, but it really doesn't have much coverage apart from that, does it? I mean, what are you going to give it though? I guess you could give it like maybe a fire move. I'm not really sure if that would mesh really well because when a lamb encounters fire, it turns into chops, and you have it with mashed potatoes and some mint sauce, and it's really tasty. Oh, I love lamb so much.
Ampharos, like many other electrics, has quite a dry move pool, especially ever since they axed Hidden Power. Sure, it's got some moves unique to electrics like Focus Blast and the reminiscent of its Mega Dragon Pulse, but those aren't quite the same as good old HP Ice or Grass. More than that though, Ampharos' once impressive power hasn't been that way for a long time, yet it still bears the drawback of that strength in the form of its low speed.
Yeah, it's so slow. Ampharos is ridiculously slow. I mean, I guess you could boost its stats a little bit. When Mega Ampharos comes back, this is all gonna change. Don't you worry. Mega Ampharos had like what, Mold Breaker? That's good.
Bulk
That's
is
good.
Decidedly average at best too, and its abilities are practically non-factors. So you
it's just not bulky. I mean, you have to run Assault Vest on this thing, essentially. You have to.
Strong electric type held back from doing anything because it lacks coverage, is so slow, not very bulky, and isn't even that strong. Basically, it offers just about nothing. What's missing? How do you?
I love Ampharos. Don't say that. It breaks my heart to hear that Ampharos is not offering anything.
This easy. You give it the move its design makes it so cool.
Tail Glow. Oh, Tail Glow. I mean, that is going to make it a bit of a sitting target, though, isn't it? Because it doesn't have the best defenses in the world. That's true. It would make it really powerful. Really bloody powerful. But you're still going to be very slow. Like, I can see this working really well on a Trick Room team. You Trick Room, switch out Tail Glow, and then you have a couple of turns to just blast things.
Should have Tail Glow, giving a +3 special attack booster to a Pokemon with 115 base special.
Oh, I didn't realize that Ampharos only had 115 base stat too. Okay, I mean, we could probably bump that up a margin. Like 125 is not going to hurt
attack
anyone.
Might seem comical, but remember, this is an electric type with base 55 speed and unimpressive bulk, so it's still not going to be nearly as impactful with the move as Manaphy. However, what the move does.
Okay, no one's gonna say like, oh no, don't put Tail Glow on that, it's gonna be too strong. And when Tail Glow was on Xurkitree, and Xurkitree had 173 base special attack, that's ridiculous.
Does do is give Ampharos a real niche.
And what's really ridiculous is it didn't even have a tail. Well, I mean, I guess it kind of did have a tail. Really shouldn't be glowing, though.
The complete and utter destruction of defensive cores. It could force them to have some sort of way to actually strike back at the opposition instead of playing purely reactively, lest Ampharos run them over. It's not that much to ask either, given how unimpressive Ampharos' defenses are, and it's not difficult for even defensive Pokemon to outrun it. Plus,
and that means you couldn't run an Assault Vest on it if you're trying to run Tail Glow at the same time.
Doesn't even have coverage for grass or ground types that already want to check it without terrestrialization. The best it's going to do is hit them neutrally.
I guess you could Terra Blast. Ampharos with terrestrialization could be super good if it had Tail Glow.
Fair trade-off for the incredible amount of power it'd be wielding. A significant but not impossible challenge to defensive playstyles. This is still going.
Oh, he gets Dazzling Gleam. I mean, that's something. Ugh, it just does not do any damage. It did about a quarter to the Sky Score. That's not very good.
Ampharos struggling against other playstyles that have a quicker pace to them, but seeing how drastic a change Tail Glow would be, it seems quite fair to leave it there for now.
Okay, yeah, I mean, Tail Glow would be fair. I feel like Tail Glow wouldn't really make Ampharos even that much better. What in God's name is this silhouette? Am I crazy? I have no idea what this is. What am I looking at right now? Am I looking at Meta Knight? What is this? This is like a dead cat? What is this? Revavroom!
Now, Revavroom is definitely a cut above the Pokemon mentioned previously. It's one of the best Pokemon in RU. However, we didn't.
I really thought the Revavroom was quite good. I mean, it has double stab, it has gunk shots. It has Toxic Spikes. It has Toxic. It has Shift Gear, which is a great set of moves as well.
I want the list to just be pure junk number 1 and number 2. We can't help but feel that it could be much, much better with just slight additions to its move pool.
What would we add to this, though? Are we adding, like, Poison? Because Gungshot is unreliable, so you want to add a different Poison move? I can't imagine what other Poison move you'd want to add here. Or maybe just more coverage in general, because Steel and Poison is, like, decent coverage, but it's not great.
Completely reasonable. Perhaps to the point where its true home would be in Yu-Yu. Its biggest issue, which it attempts to circumvent through Air Balloon, is its monstrous ground weakness. But
wait, Magnet Rise. That's what you give it.
Grounds were already ubiquitous before the generation, where just about all of them got spikes. This is more than your average issue, especially because as good as Revavroom's attack is,
I also love that they're using the Team Star? The Team Star music in the background during this as well. I think that's great.
After a shift gear boost, it just does not hit the likes of Mudsdale hard enough. Gunk Shot being your main stab is great, but your secondary stab should complement it. And Revavroom's Iron Head does not quite possess the type coverage or pure strength to help as much as it can.
Oh, so we're going with a steel move here. You know what? Just give it Behemoth Blade. Why not?
It needs stronger steel stab. The answer is simple.
Behemoth Blade. Oh, right. No. Yeah, of course. I mean, that can miss, though. I guess it has a higher chance to crit because it hits twice. It's not that much stronger, and it has a 15% chance to miss. That's pretty big. Though it does work it works thematically. Like, obviously, a car Pokemon with Gear Grind, I mean, thematically, that just makes sense.
But that has a limited...
I mean, cars have gears in them, right? I'm sorry, I don't own a car. My driver's license expired. I got my driver's license, did not drive for 10 years, and expired. I genuinely have no idea. I've not driven a car in, like, over 10 years. I don't own one. I take my city's metro and walk places because I live in a walkable city, which is really nice. I'm sorry to the Americans that don't know what walkable city means. Maybe one day you can figure out trains.
It's special distribution we will respect, and we'd really love to suggest Double Iron Bash, whose flinch rate goes beautifully with shift gears, increased speed.
Yeah, Double Iron Bash would be crazy on Revavroom, though. I mean, that's Melmel's thing. Leave that with Melmel. That's Melmel's thing.
Revavroom's sweeping potential another level of threat, but in addition to it being Melmetal's signature move, it's not even in the game anymore. Gear Grind, though, makes...
Oh yeah, if you click it, it just doesn't work.
Perfect sense. Yes, we realize it's not quite the same kind of gear as shift gear, but it's still similar and fitting enough to where Revavroom should be able to learn it. The increased 20 base power from 80 to the 100 of the 2 hits at...
I mean, you're losing the ability to flinch there, which kind of sucks, to be honest. You're just getting like a marginal power increase and losing the ability to flinch and adding the ability to miss. So the RNG goes from being slightly in your favor to being against
50
you.
50 base power apiece is a massive step up and puts far greater pressure on a Pokemon that already places strenuous demands on attempts to check it after a shift gear. It was at this point we realized that, wait a minute, Gear Grind also isn't in the game anymore.
Oh. What? Really? Wow, that's pathetic. Oh my god.
This is ridiculous. We take it back. Give Revavroom Meteor Mash. All
right, yeah, you know what? Just give it Meteor Mash. I mean, that makes sense. It gives you a potential attack increase. We can also miss. It's stronger.
To Lucario, it was really open season anyway. Let Revavroom shift gear up, then Meteor Mash for another attack boost.
Oh, wait, it has base 90 attack. Okay. I mean, that's fine. It has a 10% chance to miss. That might be better for it than Gear Grind was.
Really opening the floodgates.
Because this is actually great, because once you get a shift gear up, you have +2 speed, you're outspeeding most stuff anyway, but you only have +1 attack. So you maybe not necessarily killing everything one shot. If you Meteor Mash and take a hit, you have a 20% chance to increase that health. And you Meteor Mash again, get a kill, another 20% chance, Meteor Mash again, you continually potentially getting more and more and more attacks.
It's not even as strong as Gear Grind at 90 base power, but that extra 10 BP is going to help matters quite a bit anyway, and the 20% attack raise is really going to break games open. Is it enough for Revavroom to break into Yu-Yu full stop? Probably not, but increasing its coverage might. Instead of high horsepower's ground coverage, Revavroom should also get close combat, which hits...
Oh, close combat. I mean, that makes sense. I mean, if you get hit by a car, I'd say that's close combat.
It's largely the same targets as horsepower, but for greater damage, and wider coverage against otherwise irritating type combinations. Sure, it's not fighting Skarmory, but being stuffed by a steel that isn't ground weak is no good, and CC would help it blast right past Bronzong and Terra Steel Rotom Heat. It'd be worth...
I mean, it would do like a decent amount of damage to Bronzong, though Bronzong does wall Revavroom pretty nicely, though.
Volcanion, but Gunk Shot is already hitting that for massive damage.
Is Volcanion in RU? That's insane. Oh my god. Does Yanmega get sticky webs?
Yanmega always seems like a Pokemon poised to unleash incredible levels of damage. Such is its
Yanmega needs Quiver Dance. As I'm putting that out there right now, Yanmega needs Quiver Dance, and it needs a stronger bug-type move.
compensation for being a bug flying type, but often falls just a bit short.
And it doesn't even have Hurricane. Give it Hurricane.
Its
Why
special
not?
attack stat, while impressive, isn't quite the world beater you expect or need it to be, given its flaws, even with Tinted Lens removing the resist. After all, you're hitting neutrally when you get rid of resist, and thus you need raw power, of which Yanmega is not quite in short supply, but would certainly appreciate.
It doesn't have much of that, to be honest. I mean, Yanmega, especially when you randomize abilities like we do for other Week 5 videos, if it doesn't have speed boost, it's just terrible. I mean, you just give it, you could give it Nasty Claw. I don't know if Nasty Plot really works for a Dragonfly thematically. You could give it Quiver Dance. Quiver Dance would make sense. You could give it, I mean, Tail Glow wouldn't. I don't know if Tail Glow would make sense. Actually, for a Dragonfly, wait, a Dragonflies, the ones that have the glow. Oh, no, that's Fireflies, because you would not believe your eyes of 10 million Fireflies. Okay, sorry.
Bug Buzz
No Tail
generally
Glow.
gets the job done nicely and is consistent, but Yanmega could really benefit from a greater burst of power, perhaps in its secondary flying stab, which as it stands is the weaker side. Air Slash
you
is
give it
certainly
Hurricane.
good, especially with Tinted Lens, but it feels like it could be the slot where Yanmega gains some real punch. There aren't stronger special bug moves, but we don't think the case is as strong as Pinsir's to the point where we need to invent some sort of special counterpart to Megahorn. And after all, there are viable upgrades to Air Slash.
Oh, Aeroblast.
Aeroblast? Well, that would be extremely cool, but not quite. We're talking Hurricane, of course.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, I kind of guessed it right.
It's a
Nice.
fierce move even in the face of flying resist, but when backed by Tinted Lens, it shifts into another beast altogether. Its accuracy means you don't want to be too comfortable spamming it, but man expects Yanmega going to be muscling through damn near everything now. It's got
I mean, you could just run a wide lens, tinted lens, just all the lenses you could possibly need.
Bug Buzz for the safe hits and the super effective slams that need to connect, and when it needs that extra strength, it can whip out the cane. Besides, it's still quadruple Stealth Rock weak in case you think it's overkill. And that thought makes us feel better about this other addition we're suggesting.
Quiver Dance.
This would
There
allow
it is,
Yanmega
baby!
greater
He's
dimension to his
guessed
game,
it!
rather than
He's done it, folks. He's proper done it is again.
everything with unresisted special attacks. It holds back and goes for the throat late game with this mega boost that then unleashes some same attacks. What keeps this from being particularly wild in our opinion is that even with Hurricane, Yanmega is not
His ass is not OHKOing anything. Even with Hurricane at +1, he still might not be OHKOing
a
anything.
one-hit KO machine. It'd be excellent, sure, but not to some unreasonable degree. Players would still have to rigorously set up the conditions for it to sweep against a well-built team, weakening its checks into range. It's also worth noting, as mentioned earlier, Tinted Lens nullifying resist while
Yeah, Tinted Lens is actually so good. I did not put respect on Tinted Lens. It's really
amazing,
good.
does not do the full job because the neutral attack has to hit hard, and Specs Yanmega's Hurricane is more of a 2-hit KO forcing tool, not quite a 1-hit KO. It has
Now, come on, mate. You got that. What is that? I actually don't know. Is that pounds? I think that's 20. Is that 100 pounds, 125 pounds or something like that? I don't know. You could do it, mate. Come on.
the same power
You got
after
this.
a Quiver Dance, so it would really need the help, especially since
Why are they struggling so much?
by nature of its typing, is not going to get a ton of opportunity. So it's really got to commit when a Quiver Dance is up, and better to do so at the right time. Let's not play it down too much though. Quiver Dance Yanmega would be a baller even if it didn't
Oh my
also
god,
get
it just one-shotted
Hurricane.
Ampharos.
It would be the push it really needs to live up to its potential. And that's it. Of course,
That was a sick list. I agree with everything on that. Boom Burst, Porygon-Z. Let's make it happen, folks. Let's make it happen, guys. That'd be absolutely fantastic. I'd absolutely love to see it. I'd love to see you subscribe to Full Swipe Gaming as well. I don't know why you haven't done it yet. I mean, I could ask politely again. I'm going to go ahead and hit that like button, and then you can use their code of freaking boot.dev. And you can subscribe here if you want to. That'd be really cool. I'd appreciate that.